Hi, how are you? My name is Matt Ackerson. I'm the founder and CEO of AutoGrow.co, as you may already know. That's this company right here, AutoGrow.co. And in this video, I'm talking to you and teaching you the 5 key steps to having a great hiring funnel. Could say hiring system, same thing, but we've written forever about hiring, about sales funnels. And the way that we think of getting a lot of things done in our business, as you should in yours, is in terms of it being a funnel. And so it's very fitting to call it a hiring funnel. So uh, let's just jump right into it, because what you want from an effective hiring funnel is you want to get a number of applicants in at the top, and you want to have one or several great hires come out at the bottom, and you just pick the best choice. The problem, though, that this is looking to address is, of course, hiring someone who's not a fit for your company, who has a bad attitude, or who doesn't have the right skills. It can have a really negative impact, not just on your bottom line, but also on the motivation of your team. Because everyone needs to think and work as a team. All right, it's not just about one person; it's about the team, because different skill sets combined are what ultimately creates a great business. It's not just about one person. And so some stats for you to consider here is that according to Manpower Group, 73% of employers are experiencing difficulties finding skilled candidates, and 45% of employers are concerned about finding employees with the necessary skills and talents. In addition, 67% of recruiters say that their biggest challenge in hiring is the lack of skilled or high quality candidates according to JobVite. In other words, people come in, but they need to either be trained, or the company just has to say goodbye to them because they don't have the right skills. And finally, 57% of applicants for jobs, they lose interest in the job opening if the hiring process takes too long. And that's also why, again, you need to think about it as its own system, as its own entity, as a funnel that ideally can run as repetitively and systematically and automatically without your input. So that's a big part of what we're covering today in these 5 steps, is how do you actually create that result. So the first step in developing a great hiring funnel or a great hiring process, number one is, sounds obvious, but you got to make applicants fill out a short application form just to get to know them better. And this is better than having people submit a boilerplate resume, because that's more to the applicant's advantage rather than to yours as the business owner, as the HR person, as the person in charge of hiring, as whatever role that you're working in. It's to their advantage to submit a resume because they can just send it everywhere. But it's to your company's advantage and your advantage to have them fill out a form, because you get a better sense of their personality. And also, just like we teach as part of sales funnel physics, where there are 11 laws of sales funnel physics, that's our framework, again, for understanding why people convert or don't within a sales funnel. It's basically the laws of persuasion. And one of the laws is the law of friction. In other words, you increase friction, you get less conversions. Uh, but at the same time, by increasing friction, you have to balance that, because increasing friction may get less conversions, less applicants in this case, but you'll get more quality applicants coming through the door, people who are more serious and interested in the position that you're advertising for. So again, you're going to get a better sense of their personality. You're going to get their contact information too into a database that is part of whatever tool or application that you use. We actually use Cognito Forms here at AutoGrow. We used to use Wufoo Forms for a while, but I don't know, they started changing their pricing model, and the design of the app wasn't so great. Cognito Forms is much more affordable, and it gets the job done just as well. So I recommend them for sure, but Wufoo is still a pretty pretty good choice overall, but Cognito has its advantages. And as a data point to consider too is look internally to find people who know other people in their personal network, team members. And this is working really, really well for us because referred candidates are 55% faster to hire, according to HR technologists. And they produce 25% more profit than hires from other sources, according to a paper by ISA, the Institute for Labor Economics. So there's that to consider as well. But whatever the source is, where they're coming from, make them fill out as part of the first step, fill out an application. Step number 2 is assign the applicant a skill test or a work sample of some kind to test their knowledge, ability, and expertise. All right, because as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, that's a key reason why people aren't a good fit, because their skill level just isn't up to par. So this will help you to assess, can they do the work? Because I mean, this was kind of, it sounds obvious once you realize it, but for us, it wasn't, I guess, immediately obvious because we were testing for different dimensions. But what we realized is that the number one most important thing that we want to qualify or disqualify people for as soon as possible is, after they filled out the initial questionnaire with their contact info and who they are, is can they do the work? Can they do the work? Right? Because if they can't do the work, then it doesn't make sense to move forward with next steps, right? So for example, according to the Talent Board's Candidate Experience Research Report, 82% of companies use some form of pre-employment assessment test. I mean, you kind of have to, right? What we do at AutoGrow is we actually use both. We include a skill test within the initial application form, and then we also have an on-spec project that we'll do as a follow-up test after we kind of look at what they've done on the skill test and say, okay, this person's good enough, but we're still keeping our risk low by assigning an on-spec project, okay? Hiring step number 3, okay? Key hiring step. Have your hiring manager interview the applicant after they've completed the initial questionnaire and that work sample or skill test. Have your hiring manager, maybe your HR manager, interview the applicant on a one-on-one call. Now, this is also part of, I would say, the overall test. So you're testing them, will they show up? And will they show up on time, ideally a few minutes early, okay? And this works too, even if you're doing interviews that are not in person through Zoom, because you can look at the time, is the person on time or not? And you should use that as part of the objective criteria that you use to grade people. So for example, we have part of our scoring rubric to try to keep things as objective as possible is people get a certain amount of points for showing up on time. I think we might even add a little bit extra if they're early. They're like a minute or 2 early. But if they're late by a few minutes, things like 3 minutes or more, that counts against them. And if they're later than 5 minutes, that counts against them. If they don't show up at all, well, the person is just disqualified in that case. And sometimes, you'll get excuses that say, got into a car accident. And obviously that's terrible if that happens. But in many cases, in terms of probability, people, especially if it's for a remote position, you're normally not commuting to go to your computer, right? Which is, you're going to be working from home, or a relative died, they might say, or they got sick. These are, in my opinion, just disqualifying excuses because most of the time, unfortunately, they're lies. They're just not true. Because the probability that all of that is true, or any of those excuses are true at the same moment when they just happen to have an interview, which in reality they probably just forgot about, or maybe they weren't serious enough about it. Those should be considered disqualifying. Um, but part of what you get a sense for on this one-on-one call too, and you want to keep it short. I mean, we actually call it a pre-interview at AutoGrow. You get a sense for the personality. All right, is this someone that you want to go out and have a beer with, spend time with, talk with about life, whatever? And that's important, because life is short. You want to enjoy who you're going to work with. So step number 4 in your hiring funnel or hiring process is take the time to further test their diligence, efficacy, and skills with an on-spec project, which is what I was talking about a moment ago. And so what is an on-spec project exactly? An on-spec project is basically any project where the person is not guaranteed payment. They have to follow the instructions. They have to deliver it on time. So they're actually working on a deadline in this case, unlike the skill test or work sample, which was earlier on. And that might have been, as it is with us, just part of the initial form. But now they've shown up to fill out the form. They've shown up to a pre-interview. Okay, so you're getting a sense of consistency, and you're testing one more time, this time with compensation on the table. But it's conditional on the project being completed, it being up to a certain level of quality. In other words, it should be usable by you, or by your company, or by your client or your customer. You can invent one. It doesn't have to be necessarily a um, uh, a project that you do use internally. Like, you could kind of come up with it, but ideally, if you're paying for something, it should be something that you can actually use to better your business. So for example, if we were hiring a content writer, we would give them their first assigned article to actually write. Okay. And we'd say, okay, it has to be this length, it has to follow this checklist. Go ahead. Right. And what we're looking for is, are they following 97% at least of the checklist? If they do that, and they miss a few things here and there, it's really kind of up to you in terms of what you're willing. Because basically, let me give you this rule of thumb: you get what you tolerate. You get what you tolerate. So if you're happy with 97%, I mean, I'd say we're kind of at AutoGrow, we're a little bit happier with 98, 99%. But sometimes, just in terms of the talent that's out there, maybe you can only find 97%, and maybe that's good enough. But keep in mind too, if they miss, like, if they're only 80%, 60%, I mean, forget it. Forget it. So you need to decide up front, what's your cutoff as well. And I actually think this is something that we can better define too within our own process, which is pretty ironed out at this point. But I'm just kind of thinking about it as I'm talking to you here. So again, you're looking for, how do they communicate as part of the on-spec project if an issue comes up, and are they delivering it on time? Are they meeting the deadline? Are they exceeding the deadline in a noticeable way? You're also going to get to see how proactive they are. So do they go above and beyond? Do they try to make it better than, just following the guidelines, the checklist, the template, whatever? And finally, hiring process or hiring funnel step number 5. Have a few key team members of your core team interview the applicant. Find out if they're a cultural fit, you could say. Because at this point, they've completed an on-spec project successfully, and you've compensated them for that. So at this point, you want to get the buy-in of other team members. Like, does this person seem like a good person, that your other team members are going to enjoy working with? Because maybe you're the business owner, or you're the HR person. You're not necessarily going to be interacting with the person on a day-to-day basis, okay? But the rest of your team will be. And I think that our team really, really appreciate, and I'm really proud of this too. I think that our team really appreciates how we try to include them, because, we're building a company, and there needs to be some sort of an agreeable level of culture where we're going to work together, we're going to collaborate, and we like who we're working with. But something else to sort of keep in mind, and here's just one more pro tip I would say, is maybe even before you have the team invest heavily in getting on a phone call where their time is actually at risk, I would actually insert a step between steps 4 and 5. And here's the step that you should do is if they do a good job with the on-spec project, okay, say, hey, you're hired. You can continue to compensate them on a, whatever your structure or, whatever your budget is allowing, whether that's project-based, part-time, full-time. But whatever it is, you want to put the label of trial on it. This is we're going to hire you on a trial basis. We're going to look at how we work together for the next 2 months, 3 months, wherever you see problems start to come up in that timeline. You want to say, okay, we're gonna look at how it is to work together for 3 months, and then we're going to evaluate or reevaluate if things aren't looking too good. And that's great because you don't want anyone to get comfortable and think, all right, I've made it. I can just take it easy. I don't have to worry about improving my skills. I can just my true bad personality can come out now, and I can just be a jerk because I got this job. I'm set. You know, you want discomfort is good for growth and for progress, and it helps to set a tone too for okay, this is a meritocracy. What we're building in this company, it's merit based. You have to perform. You have to apply yourself, and we value continuous self improvement really, really strongly at AutoGrow. So it's one of our core values. You can see it on our about page. But that's why we do it, all right? Because we want it to be a meritocracy very much. And finally, back to step number 5 for a second. Just some stats that I think you might find interesting about, related to the step of having your core team interview the applicant to find out if they're a cultural fit. So actually, 25% of candidates say that a better company culture is among their top reasons for changing jobs. In other words, you know, people might not feel like it's a very positive environment for whatever reason. Maybe it's not optimistic in certain ways. Maybe they want to joke around more, and not in terms of their work, but maybe just in terms of personality, and everyone is like very serious. So something to consider. And in addition, as LinkedIn reports, 70% of professionals in the US today won't work at a company if it means that they have to tolerate or deal with a bad workplace culture. So sort of obvious, but 70%, big deal. All right, so those are the 5 steps. And to review, step number 1, ask applicants to fill out a short application form to get to know them better on paper. Step number 2, assign the applicant a skill test or work sample to test their knowledge, ability, and expertise. Step number 3, have your hiring manager interview the applicant in a one-on-one call. And this is, again, a good opportunity for you to test how do they present themselves and get a sense of their personality. Step number 4, test their diligence, efficiency, and skills with an on-spec project. Again, they showed up one time to fill out the application. They showed up another time for the interview, and you're testing them again. Do they show up again to do the on-spec project and doing it on time? And are they delivering at 97% or better? Are they delivering above and beyond? You're going to get a sense there as well. Then hire them, kind of the ghost or pro tip that I gave you, ghost step, if you want to call it that. Say that you're going to hire them if they pass all previous steps on a trial basis. And finally, step number 5, have a few key team members actually interview the applicant after they've maybe been hired on a trial basis after, for at least a couple weeks, maybe 3 weeks. All right. And then your team members can kind of invest time in getting to know them a little bit. Hey, let's have a 15-minute one-on-one call. Okay. All right, so this is a hiring funnel process that can work for you, for your company. These steps are tried and true. They work for us. And you can save yourself a lot of time and a lot of headache. And speaking of headache, this is a big part of what AutoGrow helps our clients with. And our value proposition is as follows. We help you, your business, to delegate your digital marketing tasks and projects without the headaches of hiring. And that's why we wrote this article too. We wrote it from our own hands-on experience because, you know, marketing is a huge part of any company's success. But the effort and the time and the financial risk involved with actually finding great people, just so you can get to that point where you're starting to get work done, it's a lot of work, all right? With AutoGrow, we make it super easy. We take care of all the hiring behind the scenes in terms of staffing great talent so that when you sign up, it's like project management software. It's just a seamless experience where it's like, it's just you just do it through the app where you can chat with people who uh, the proven professionals who are assigned to your account who are going to get the work actually done, and you can just type some notes about what exactly you want to create or what you need help with. Oh, I need help with strategy, because that's a big thing that clients tell us that makes us different, is part strategy, part execution. Okay, that's in terms of your marketing. So you might say, okay, well, I just spoke with my strategist. I want to create a landing page. I want to create an entire funnel. So you type some notes into the AutoGrow app. You click on the button that says make it real, and you can watch the progress bar go from 0 to 100% in real time. And if you have any questions, again, we are there in the live chat in the app that we've custom built for you. And it's just, it's a beautiful experience. And of course, we involve you along the way. We give you alerts whenever we have something, a new deliverable that's ready for you to review. And, the navigation in the app, it says ideas made real. And that's what we're all about. Ideas made real, helping you to make your digital marketing ideas real. So check it out. We have a special going on right now. $7. It's a $7 for 7-day trial, $7 for 7 days, and give us a try. The monthly packages start at just $5.99 per month as well after the 7-day trial. It's autogrow.co. And if you're on a budget, if you're more of the do-it-yourself type, check out our fixed price services, which we're coming out with new ones every single week by going to autogrow.co/marketplace. So you can see some of our trainings, like our 6-figure sales funnel training there. And you can also see some of the fixed price services that we have. Like we just came out today with the Facebook ads custom written and designed for you for $79. And we also came out with a lead magnet where we actually will write the entire lead magnet for you, all the copy custom. All right, help you come up with the idea too. We can help you to strategize on what's an idea that's going to convert for your business. And then we write all the copy, we design the PDF custom, and we deliver it to you. All right. So check us out again, autogrow.co for the monthly packages and autogrow.co/marketplace for the fixed price services and trainings. All right. So as always, keep converting, stay focused, and I will see you next time.